Every single day, you are either moving closer to the life you want or further from it. And that progress isn't random. It's the result of 5 core things you must work on, not once a week, not when it's convenient, every single day. And this isn't just motivation, it's neuroscience. Let's break this down. 1, work on your mindset. Your thoughts sculpt your brain. Every time you practice self-doubt or procrastination, you're wiring your brain to be good at that. But when you focus on growth, on learning, on pushing through, that neuroplasticity begins to work for you. That's not magic, that's biology. 2, work on your body. Movement is medicine. When you train your body, even for 20 minutes, you're sending a signal to your nervous system. I'm alive, I'm focused, I'm in control. And it boosts dopamine, increases neurogenesis, and primes you for performance. 3, work on your focus. Your focus is your power. In a distracted world, learning to concentrate is a superpower. And like any muscle, it can be trained. So every day, block out time. No phone, no noise, and just focus deeply on anything. It's how you build neural circuits for clarity and discipline. 4, work on your sleep. Sleep is not rest. Sleep is rebuilding. Your brain clears toxins, your memories consolidate, your hormones reset. One night of bad sleep destroys willpower, reaction time, even emotional control. Prioritize sleep like your life depends on it, because it does. 5, work on your purpose. Why are you doing any of this? You need a reason, a vision, a mission. Every day, connect with your why. Write it down, speak it aloud. When purpose drives you, discipline becomes natural. Motivation fades, but purpose burns long. Now ask yourself, are you working on these 5 things today? Don't just live life, train for it. Neuroplasticity is the ability of your brain to change physically and functionally based on experience, input, and repetition. That means your brain is constantly rewiring itself in response to what you think, feel, and do. And this process doesn't stop after childhood. It continues throughout your entire life. But here's the truth most people ignore. Neuroplasticity doesn't care whether you're building better habits or worse ones. It's neutral. It's simply responding to the signals you give it. Every time you procrastinate, every time you let fear hold you back, every time you indulge in self-doubt, you're not just making a choice. You're training your brain to become better at doing those things. You're literally strengthening the neural pathways that support avoidance, anxiety, and distraction. On the flip side, when you choose to lean into discomfort, when you decide to push through resistance, when you practice gratitude, focus, discipline, your brain responds by reinforcing those behaviors too. Neurons that fire together wire together. So if you wake up every day and feed your mind with negativity, comparison, fear, and laziness, you are sculpting a brain that becomes a master of those things. But if you intentionally fuel it with purpose, clarity, curiosity, and action, your brain will adapt and evolve toward that version of you. Think of your brain like a garden. You can either plant seeds of growth, confidence, and courage, or you can let weeds of fear, doubt, and distraction grow wild. But make no mistake, something is growing either way. You don't need to be perfect. What matters is consistency and awareness. Recognize the thoughts and behaviors you repeat daily. Are they building the life you want or tearing it down, one small decision at a time? Every action you take is a vote for the kind of brain you want to build. Every thought is a vote for the kind of mindset you're reinforcing. You're not just doing things, you're becoming someone. That's the power of neuroplasticity. But it's also the responsibility. Your body is not just a vessel to carry your mind. It's a biological engine that drives your cognitive performance, emotional stability, and long-term resilience. One of the biggest mistakes people make is separating the body from the brain, as if physical health and mental strength exist in different worlds. They don't. They are deeply biologically connected. When you move your body, you move your mind. That's not a metaphor. That's neuroscience. Just 10 to 20 minutes of deliberate physical activity can increase levels of dopamine, serotonin, and norepinephrine, the very neurochemicals responsible for mood regulation, attention, and motivation. That means that a short workout, a brisk walk, or even stretching isn't just about burning calories. It's about upgrading your brain's chemical environment. It's about putting your nervous system into a state where focus becomes easier, where anxiety is reduced, and where your brain is better prepared to learn, retain, and execute. Even more powerful, movement is one of the most effective ways to regulate stress. When you experience stress, your body produces cortisol and adrenaline. If you don't discharge that energy through physical action, it gets stored in your body, leading to tension, fatigue, and emotional volatility. But when you move intentionally, you burn off that stress load and return to baseline faster. And this isn't just for elite athletes or biohackers. Your brain literally expects your body to move. We evolved to be in motion, hunting, walking, climbing, building. When we stop moving, we're going against our own biology. And over time, that stagnation leads to mental fog, low mood, poor sleep, and weakened immune function. Want to feel more confident? Move. Want to increase mental clarity? Move. Want to beat procrastination, improve discipline, sleep better, and reduce anxiety? Move. Daily physical activity doesn't have to be extreme. It just needs to be consistent and intentional. Even a short 15-minute walk in natural light has been shown to enhance alertness and mood by syncing your circadian rhythm and boosting dopamine production. Lifting weights or doing resistance training not only strengthens your body, it sharpens your mind through improved neuroplasticity and hormone regulation. Remember, movement is not just about what your body looks like, it's about what your brain feels like. So ask yourself, did you move your body today in a way that served your mind? Did you send the message to your nervous system that you're strong, alive, and in control? Because when you treat your body like an afterthought, your brain suffers. But when you train your body, you train your mind. In today's world, attention is under attack. You are surrounded by distractions, endless notifications, short-form content, breaking news, messages, algorithms, all designed to hijack your brain's reward system and pull you away from deep thought. And every time you let them win, you're not just losing a few seconds of productivity, you're training your brain to become more scattered, more reactive, and less capable of sustained attention. But here's the key. Focus is a skill. It's not something you're born with. It's something you train. Neurologically, focus depends on the brain's prefrontal cortex and its relationship with the dopaminergic system, the network responsible for motivation and reward. When you focus deeply on a single task, you increase dopamine in circuits associated with satisfaction and achievement. You're literally reinforcing the neural patterns that make it easier to focus the next time. That means focus builds on itself if you train it. And just like a muscle, if you don't train it, it atrophies. The more you allow yourself to multitask, scroll mindlessly, or switch tasks rapidly, the more you strengthen neural circuits of impulsivity, dopamine seeking, and mental fatigue. So how do you reverse that? You carve out non-negotiable blocks of deep work each day. You set a timer, eliminate distractions, and give your full attention to one single task. Whether that's reading, learning, writing, building, what matters is the depth of your attention, not the length. Even 30 minutes of uninterrupted focus can rewire your brain toward clarity and control. Here's something even more powerful. The science shows that deliberately resisting distraction, the very act of saying no to checking your phone or clicking on that browser tab, is a form of self-directed neuroplasticity. It's your prefrontal cortex overriding your limbic system. And every time you do it, you strengthen your ability to stay in control of your own mind. You become the one steering the ship, not your impulses, not your environment. Focus is freedom, because the more control you have over your attention, the more control you have over your entire life. When you train your focus, you unlock better learning, deeper understanding, stronger decision-making, and greater emotional regulation. And in a world where everyone is distracted, the person who can focus becomes unstoppable. So the question is, are you training your focus today or letting it decay? Because attention is not infinite. You get a limited amount each day. And where you place it is a direct investment into the person you are becoming. If you think sleep is just about rest, think again. Sleep is one of the most active and essential biological processes your body and brain go through every single day. It's not passive downtime. It's prime time for repair, reset, and growth. From a neuroscience perspective, sleep is the foundation of your brain's ability to function. During deep sleep stages, your brain cleans itself, literally. A system called the glymphatic system flushes out metabolic waste and toxins that build up during waking hours. If you're not sleeping well, those toxins, including ones linked to neurodegenerative diseases, accumulate. So when you sacrifice sleep, you're not gaining time, you're borrowing energy from tomorrow and repaying it with interest. Sleep impacts everything: your ability to focus, to control your emotions, to form new memories, to make decisions, to physically recover, to regulate hormones like testosterone and cortisol. It all depends on sleep. One night of poor sleep drops your cognitive performance, weakens your immune function, decreases glucose metabolism, and even lowers your pain threshold. In short, when you skip quality sleep, your body feels older, your brain functions slower, and your willpower gets weaker. And here's where the science gets even more practical. It's not just how long you sleep, it's when and how consistently. Circadian rhythms, your internal 24-hour biological clock, control nearly every system in your body, including sleep-wake timing, hormone release, and metabolic function. Disrupting your sleep schedule, like sleeping in late on weekends or using screens late at night, throws your circadian rhythm off, causing social jet lag, even if you never left your time zone. Want to optimize your brain and body? Then anchor your day with strong sleep cues. Get morning sunlight exposure. It sets your circadian rhythm for better alertness during the day and deeper sleep at night. Avoid caffeine after early afternoon. It blocks adenosine, the molecule that builds sleep pressure. Limit bright light and screen time 1-2 hours before bed, especially blue light, which disrupts melatonin production. Stick to a consistent sleep schedule, yes, even on weekends. If you're serious about high performance, mentally, physically, emotionally, then sleep is non-negotiable. It's the most powerful legal performance enhancer available. And the beautiful thing is, it's free. So when you wake up groggy, irritable, unfocused, don't just reach for more coffee or blame your day. Look at the night before. Ask yourself, did I give my brain the sleep it needed to win today? Because without sleep, you're running uphill with weights on your ankles. With it, you're operating in alignment with your biology. And your best self-purpose is not just a motivational idea, it's a biological directive. Inside your brain, purpose acts like a compass. It gives your nervous system something to organize around. Without it, your mind wanders, your motivation becomes reactive, your energy is scattered. But when you are connected to a clear and compelling purpose, your brain knows what to prioritize. You gain clarity, drive, and direction. Let's get scientific for a moment. And when you're engaged in purposeful action, something you believe matters, your brain releases a more sustained form of dopamine. This isn't the quick hit dopamine that comes from social media or junk food. This is the deep motivational dopamine that keeps you moving through obstacles, delays, and discomfort. It keeps you in pursuit even when things get tough. Why? Because your brain is wired to keep going as long as the goal feels meaningful. That's why people who live with purpose tend to have lower stress levels, stronger immune systems, and better mental health. Studies even show they live longer. Because when your actions align with your core values, your entire system becomes more coherent. Less conflict, more energy. But here's the thing, purpose is not always obvious. It's not always some grand vision or epic mission. It can be simple. It can evolve. The key is to connect with it consciously, daily. You have to remind yourself why you're doing what you're doing. Why are you working hard? Why are you trying to grow? Why are you pushing through resistance instead of taking the easy way out? Because when you forget your why, you default to your feelings, and feelings are fleeting. But purpose is enduring. Purpose gives structure to your discipline, meaning to your struggle, and momentum to your action. That's why working on your purpose is not a one-time exercise, it's a daily ritual. Write down your purpose every morning. Speak it out loud. Meditate on it. Visualize it. Align your actions with it. The more your brain rehearses it, the more it becomes hardwired. Purpose literally changes your brain's filtration system, the reticular activating system. So you begin noticing opportunities, habits, and people that align with your vision. And over time, your brain stops craving comfort and starts chasing meaning. You don't need all the answers. But you do need a reason, something bigger than distraction, bigger than comfort, bigger than fear. Because purpose isn't just what you live for, it's what gives your discipline a pulse. Success doesn't come from what you do once in a while. It comes from what you do consistently. That means real progress. Whether it's in your brain, your body, your skill set, or your emotional regulation, is a product of small, repeated actions, not bursts of intensity that burn out after a week. From a neurological standpoint, the brain thrives on repetition. Each time you perform a behavior, especially one with focused attention, you're strengthening a network of neurons that makes that behavior easier to repeat. Over time, with consistency, that network becomes your default setting. That's how habits form, through a process called long-term potentiation, where neural pathways become more efficient with use. This is why motivation isn't enough. Motivation is emotional. It comes and goes. But consistency creates identity. It teaches your brain, this is who I am now. You don't need to crush every workout. You just need to show up. You don't need perfect focus every time. You just need to keep training it. You don't need to feel inspired to act. You need to act until it becomes part of you. Think about it like compound interest. Each small action you take, every morning walk, every deep focus session, every time you go to bed on time, is a deposit in your brain's account. It might not look like much on day 1, but by day 30, day 90, day 365, it transforms you. The brain actually rewards consistency. Dopamine isn't just released when you achieve a goal, it's released when you make progress toward a goal. So even a tiny win today, getting out of bed on time, journaling your purpose, finishing a task without distraction, tells your brain, I'm moving forward. That signal builds momentum, and momentum builds self-trust. And when you trust yourself, you don't need external motivation. You've built internal certainty. So the question isn't, did I have a great day? The real question is, did I show up today even just a little bit better than yesterday? Because in the long run, the people who win aren't the ones who go the hardest for a week. It's the ones who show up for themselves every single day, especially when they don't feel like it. That's what reprograms your brain. That's what creates transformation from the inside out. Most people think discipline is just about willpower or mental toughness, but in reality, discipline is deeply biological. It's not just a mindset. It's a state of your nervous system, a pattern of neural activity shaped by habits, hormones, and repeated behavior. Let's break this down. When you act with discipline, when you follow through on what you said you'd do, even when it's uncomfortable, you're engaging specific brain circuits that involve the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for decision-making, planning, and impulse control. You're also activating top-down regulation, meaning your brain is telling your body, we're doing this not because it feels good right now, but because it aligns with something bigger. This is the exact opposite of how your limbic system operates, the emotional part of your brain that craves instant gratification. And here's the kicker. The more often you choose discipline over comfort, the stronger your prefrontal cortex becomes at regulating your behavior. You literally become more biologically capable of doing hard things. So when you build discipline, you're not just changing your attitude, you're changing your brain's architecture. Now let's talk dopamine. Everyone thinks dopamine is about pleasure. It's not. It's about pursuit. When you delay gratification and stay locked into a goal, your brain releases dopamine in sustained, healthy waves. That means the disciplined person doesn't just feel pride after success. They feel more energy, more clarity, more drive during the pursuit. Contrast that with impulsive dopamine hits, scrolling, snacking, skipping the hard thing. Those are sharp spikes that are followed by biological crashes. Over time, those short bursts desensitize your receptors, making it harder to feel motivated at all. That's not laziness, that's dopamine depletion caused by poor habits. Discipline protects your dopamine system. Discipline stabilizes your nervous system. Discipline creates momentum, the feeling of self-trust that says, I don't need to wait for the right mood, I move anyway. And here's the part people miss. You don't have to be born with discipline. You can train it, just like a muscle. Start small. Do one thing each day that you'd rather avoid. Even a cold shower. Even putting your phone in another room. That micro action sends a signal to your brain. We do hard things here. And that signal starts to rewire the circuits of who you are becoming. The world tells you to wait until you're in the mood. Science tells you mood follows action. Discipline isn't a feeling, it's a nervous system response you create through repetition. And the more you train it, the more unstoppable you become. There's a lot you can control in life: unexpected events, other people's behavior, the economy, the algorithm, the weather, the past. But neuroscience shows us something powerful. Your brain doesn't need you to control everything. It just needs you to control something. When your nervous system senses chaos or unpredictability, it shifts into a state of hypervigilance, a survival response driven by your amygdala and hypothalamus. This puts your body on edge, increases cortisol, and narrows your mental focus to threats. That's useful if you're in danger, but if it becomes chronic, like when you feel out of control day after day, it leads to burnout, anxiety, and even depression. But here's the antidote: agency. When you take ownership of even small, repeatable actions, you activate the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that gives you perspective control and emotional regulation. You send a signal to your system: we're not helpless, we're adapting, we're moving forward. This is why having daily non-negotiables, wake-up time, movement, focused work, a sleep routine, aren't just habits, they're anchors, they're physiological stabilizers that keep your mind grounded when the world around you isn't. Even simple actions like making your bed, journaling for 5 minutes, or getting sunlight in the morning can create a sense of predictability in your nervous system. That feeling of structure restores clarity. It lowers the noise. It makes room for better thinking, better choices, better energy. Because the truth is, your brain craves order. It doesn't need everything to be perfect. It just needs to know you're in the driver's seat of something. Control your breath, control your posture, control your attention, control how you speak to yourself, control how you show up today, even if yesterday was chaos. That's how you build resilience. That's how you teach your nervous system that you're not a victim of your environment, you're a leader of it. When the world feels overwhelming, zoom in, simplify, take action, reclaim control over the next 5 minutes. Because if you can win 5 minutes, you can win an hour. If you can win an hour, you can win the day. And if you can win the day, you can win your life, one controlled choice at a time. Every day you wake up, you're given a choice. Not a choice about what the world will throw at you, but a choice about how you will respond. You don't need to predict the future. You just need to own the present. Work on your mind, because clarity is power. Work on your body, because movement is medicine. Work on your focus, because attention is your superpower. Work on your sleep, because recovery is the root of performance. Work on your purpose, because without direction, energy is wasted. Be consistent, because greatness is found in the boring, invisible repetitions. Train your discipline, because motivation fades, but habits carry you. And above all, control what you can, because power begins with responsibility. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to show up deliberately, consistently, relentlessly. The results, they'll come. But even before they do, you'll feel it in your bones. You sharper, stronger, more grounded, more awake. This is the work. And the work is the way. Let the world chase distractions. You chase mastery,